Tom Parker Bowles praises Mother Camilla and stepfather King Charles' marriage. They are very well suited. Tom Parker Bowles has been a food writer and restaurant critic for 24 years. He is also the son of the Queen. He has, up until now, avoided talking about the royal family, let alone writing about them. But in his latest book he reveals, in detail, their eating habits and gastronomic preferences. I knew that I was putting my head into the jaws of a lion, but if I can't do it now, after a quarter of a century of writing about food, when can I do it? He tells Hello in our exclusive interview. But, of course, it will be seen in some circles as nepotism, he adds, cheerfully. Hello viewers, please remember to subscribe and click on the notifications bell icon, so you will be notified whenever we upload new cookies about the British royal family. His book, Cooking and the Crown, fuses history with recipes, including a few of his mother's, and features dishes relating to every monarch from Queen Victoria to King Charles, with over 100 recipes from breakfast to state banquet via high tea. It wouldn't have happened without the palace and the king, he says, describing the monarch as the kindest, most knowledgeable, lovely man. He is someone you can ask about food, and it's like asking an academic. He's trodden every corner of his kingdom, he knows farming, he's a farming hero. Of the king and queen as a team, he observes, they're very well suited. They work well together, and we're happy that our mother's happy. His mother's role within the royal family has developed organically, which has made it easier for him to adjust to her new status, although occasionally, when I'm doing a speech and she's there, I'll forget and call her Your Highness, and Camilla is also adept at moving seamlessly from informal to formal. I come from a very laid-back family, says Tom, whose father is retired Army officer Andrew Parker Bowles, whom Camilla married in 1973 and divorced in 1995. We all gather around the table. We all love food. We all love a drink. Tom enjoyed what he describes as a lovely, happy English upbringing in Wiltshire with great food. His mother's speciality was roast chicken. However, he didn't have the easiest adolescence. She has always been, and this is not just PR, such a good mother, says Tom of the Queen. In 1995, Camilla's romantic involvement with Charles became public and Tom was thrust into the public eye through association. He often felt protective of his mother, especially in the bad days, the mid-90s, the aggression of the paparazzi, the screaming, the shouting, and she didn't have a network to protect her. I remember high-speed chases down the M4 that were incredibly dangerous. Was he ever angry with or resentful towards her? No. Never, never, never. She has always been, and this is not just PR, such a good mother. He's currently toying with the idea of penning his first novel, a big, old-fashioned adventure story, but there's an obstacle. I live on a deadline, so without it, I'll never do it, he says with a resigned but happy smile. Heaven for me is looking in my diary and seeing a whole blank week apart from a couple of pieces to write and a few meals out. Queen's son shares what Charles and Camilla have for breakfast every day. The Queen's son, Tom Parker Bowles, has revealed what she has for breakfast, and it depends on the time of year. The food critic and writer, 49, was speaking about his new cookbook, Cooking and the Crown, which details the history of food within the royal family. It covers from the reign of Queen Victoria beginning in 1837, and Edward VII at the turn of the century, to Charles and Camilla. While lunch and dinner in Queen Victoria's time would be 10 to 12 courses, things have changed somewhat. Unlike aristocratic breakfasts of Victorian and Edwardian times where the spreads were full-on gastronomic assaults. Gut-busting epics that set one up for a good old-fashioned day's hunting, shooting and roystering, as Mr. Parker Bowles writes, the current reigning royalty eat much more simply, and healthily in the morning. Tastes have changed. During the colder months, Camilla eats a bowl of porridge every day, a recipe for which you'll find in the book, made with Scottish porridge oats, full-fat milk, a pinch of salt and honey, her own honey, that is, from hives at the house she owns in Wiltshire. In summer, it's yogurt. According to Mr. Parker Bowles, her lunches are light too, often the chicken broth, another recipe detailed in the book, or smoked salmon, while Charles famously doesn't eat lunch at all, but eats dried fruit and honey for breakfast, and enjoys mutton very much. Afternoon tea has always been a spectacle and an important and substantial meal in itself for the royals, although Mr. Parker Bowles insists he's never been invited for tea at Buckingham Palace. "Everyone congregates for tea," he said. "And it's not just cakes and biscuits and crumpets and sandwiches, but you might even get poached eggs. It really is a hearty mid-afternoon meal. If you are staying in Scotland, it's quite dangerous, because you have a cooked breakfast, you have lunch, you have tea, and you have dinner." With Charles and Camilla, it's still a 5 p.m. ritual, where we all gather together around a round table in the drawing room at Birkhall, after an afternoon spent outside, mushroom hunting, or in my case, buying second-hand cookbooks. Mr. Parker Bowles writes in the book, indeed, he has a cookbook collection of 4,000. Extracted from Cooking and the Crown by Tom Parker Bowles, published in hardback by Astor, priced £30. Available September 26. King Charles has the most surprisingly frugal mealtime rule. Queen Camilla's son gave a peek into dinner with the royals. It's easy to imagine that King Charles's life is full of luxury and excess, but even with rumors of him being known as the pampered prince before he ascended to the throne, things have apparently changed behind the golden gates of Buckingham Palace. According to Queen Camilla's son, food critic and author Tom Parker Bowles, the monarch has a strict rule when it comes to mealtime, and it's not about caviar or champagne. Apparently, Charles won't stand for wasting food, and requests that any leftovers get served the next day or used again in another meal. "There is no waste, everything is recycled, everything is used from the table," Parker Bowles told the Mirror. "If anything is left over from the dinner, that will be made into something else or appear the next day. Nothing's allowed to be thrown out." The Mirror notes that last year, Charles established the Coronation Food Project, which works to lift people out of food insecurity and reduce food waste. "It's not the king just paying lip service, he practices what he preaches," Parker Bowles shared, before noting that the king has a fascination with food at every stage, from farm to table. "He really is a food hero. To talk to him about the strange varieties of plums or pears or anything else is endlessly fascinating." Parker Bowles also gave some insight into his mother and stepfather's personal connection to the food they eat, saying that they're deeply competitive when foraging for mushrooms when they're at Balmoral. "They're both very keen mycologists, and both know their mushrooms very, very well." Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and drop comments, and most importantly don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything.